Alright, this lesson is on standard form for a quadratic function. In the last section, we talked about vertex form. This is standard form. So standard form is f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c, and a is not allowed to equal 0. The reason for that is if a were equal to 0, 0 times anything is 0, so my x squared term would go away, and I'm left with a linear function. That's why they put this little disclaimer in there. So now, when you are given standard form, you should still be able to find the axis of symmetry, the vertex, the maximum, the minimum, the range, but you can also find the y-intercept. Alright, so the way we're going to find these is just a little bit different. Okay, to find the axis of symmetry, remember that is going to be an x equals equation. So what you're going to do is you're going to say that x equals negative b over 2a. Okay, if I'm going to plug stuff in here, I need to know a, b, and c. Right? So in my equation in standard form, a is 2, b is 8, and c is negative 2. So let's take and plug in values for b and a. So this is negative times my b value, which is 8, over 2 times my a value, which is 2. So I've got negative 8 over 4 is negative 2. So my axis of symmetry will be x equals negative 2. And if you'll remember, the vertex, the x part of the vertex is the same as the axis of symmetry. Now what I have to do is find the y part of the vertex. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to this original equation, plug negative 2 in for all of the x's, and then we can solve for y. So I've got y equals 2 times negative 2 squared plus 8 times negative 2 minus 2. So that gives me 2 times 4 minus 16 minus 2. Well, 2 times 4 is 8 minus 16 minus 2. 8 minus 16 is negative 8 minus 2 more is negative 10. So when x is 2, y is negative 10. So now we know the vertex. I've got to figure out, does this have a maximum or a minimum? Well, that's where we still look at the a value. Because the a value is positive, I know that this is a parabola that's going to open up. Because it opens up, it has a minimum. And now remember, your maximum or your minimum value comes from the y part of the vertex. So my minimum is negative 10. The range, because it opens up, it's going to go from negative 10 and go upwards forever. So the range is from negative 10 to positive infinity. Okay, all of that we talked about in the last section, but we've got to figure it out a little bit differently today because we were given different information. Now the y-intercept, that is new. Okay, we didn't talk about the y-intercept in the last section, but this is the easiest part of all. Whatever your c value is, that is always going to be your y-intercept. So my y-intercept is negative 2. Alright, So let's go ahead and go down here. And I want you to pause the video in just a second, try this one on your own. Okay, I'm going to help you get started here real quick. Because this is a negative, I know it's going to open upside down and look like that. My a value, that's what's in front of x squared. It is a -1, b is 2, and c is 5. So now, pause the video, see if you can figure the rest of this out. Once you have finished, then hit play again and check yours with mine and see how you did. Alright, so I'm going to start out with x equals -b over 2a. Well, b is 2, so that's -2 over 2 times my a, which is -1. I get -2 over -2 is 1. My axis of symmetry is x equals 1. So my vertex will have an x value of 1, and now I have to come back here, plug 1 in for x, and solve for y. I'm going to do it out here because I've got a little bit more room this time. So y equals negative times 1 squared. Remember, this negative is my coefficient here. So it's like -1 times my x value squared, plus 2 times 1 plus 5. So that gives me -1 times 1 plus 2 plus 5. So -1 times 1 is -1 plus 2 plus 5, and that's going to give me 6. So when x is 1, y is 6, and that's my vertex. Because this opened upside down, it's going to have a maximum, and that maximum comes from the y part of the vertex. It is a 6. And my range, because it opens upside down, it's going to start all the way down at -infinity and go up until I get to 6. So my range is -infinity to 6 with a bracket on the 6. And then y-intercept, real quick and easy, is 5. Okay. So we're going to end this video here, and then we will have another one where we talk about graphing from standard form, and we will look a little bit at the graphing calculator with it, but we are going to have to graph by hand without a graphing calculator. Okay, and knowing these items right here will help make that a little bit easier. Okay, so back in just a minute.